Welcome back, everyone. We now know enough about the simple aggregate income, aggregate expenditure model to begin to understand Keynesian policy. And to do that, we have to introduce the government back into our system. Because so far we've been working with a really simple economy, just households, firms, no government. We haven't been paying attention to financial markets. We haven't been looking at the rest of the world. We're going to do all those things, but we're going to do it little at a time. So let's remember that the government does very many things. It does regulations, it does laws, does diplomacy, lots of things. One of the things the government does is that it sets budgets. And these budgets can be at the local, regional, state, national level, and so on. I'm going to focus my attention for now mainly on the federal level or the national level, but you can use this theory at multiple levels. Out of all the things the government can do, the piece that we're focused on is the budget. Later on, we're going to look at government monetary policy as well. In most countries, these policies are differentiated. In the United States, it's the House and Senate that pass budgets, and budgets are then managed based on advice from the Treasury Department and very often the Office of Budget Management, which does that for the US. If we look at our circular flow, what happens is something like this. This is my GDPY. And think of it like a pipe. So far I've got households here, and what they do is they take that and they get their income, and this income, a portion of it goes into savings. We're not yet ready to look at the rest at the money markets. That's where it goes. The rest goes on, so this pipe is now a bit thinner as consumption. And then the firms, in addition to doing the production, they add their own planned investment, right? And the pipe gets a little fatter. And then this becomes the aggregate expenditure, which, as long as aggregate expenditure will equal to income, at this point there is no unplanned or unintended inventory changes, and we are in equilibrium. The government enters this flow through budgets in a few ways. First, the government can do taxes and transfers, which means that at this point here, if I take all types of taxes put together, income taxes, sales taxes, corporate taxes, whatever you want to call them, if I take all taxes put together, just as when I looked at income, I looked at all incomes, whether it was wages, whether it was profit, put together, a portion of your income might end up going off as taxes. But the government can also send some back, say in the form of social security, welfare payment, and so on, and I'm going to call them transfers. And that's going to change here your disposable income. So disposable income is your post-tax income that sits in your pocket, right? And that's really what you use to do some spending and some saving. Next, in addition to doing taxes and transfers, the government can also do its own expenditure on new final goods and services. It can buy military equipment, it can buy planes, it can hire people to build roads, it can pay people to do civilian defense or police, whatever it is, right? The government also spends. That's going to add to aggregate expenditure. That's another place where it can actually impact the flow. So we're going to integrate these because these ideas of the government's ability to tax, transfer, and do expenditures are the key components of the government budget. So let's look at a government budget.